Hello and welcome to the last video of this course, Chapter 18, Video 2. So don't forget to take notes and upload them when you're all done. All right, so we left off at the directory structures of the Linux. So here's something that you should know. The table 18-4 on page 1023. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1023. So this is our important directories that almost come with every Linux Linux box. You got the bin, the boot, the dev, the etc., home, and so on. So this is as a reference. Just keep that in mind. That's where you should go. And all right, again, don't forget to try to do the apply concepts whenever you get a chance if you can. That would be a great opportunity for you to do. Let's talk about some root accounts. You got the root account. That's the supervisor, the one that installs the operating system, or the server will automatically be the root supervisor. So if you have the root access, which means you'll be able to have access to everything, upload, download, updates, you name it, everything that you could do to the operating system. All right, so write this down. A super user is the principal user account is called the root account. So if you have the root account, you are the administrator. That's what that means. All right, an account with the root privileges is similar to Windows account that has been assigned administrative rights. The command to switch users is su. So if for a user to switch to the root, he or she will use the sudo account. So if you type sudo, sudo, I think it should be here somewhere. Yeah, sudo, su root, that will make you an administrator. You can pretty much do everything that the root account has. All right, so here are some commands also. Table 18-5. Write this down. Just write the table so you'll know where to go to. Table 18-5 on page 1025 is where some of the common Linux commands that you will encounter and probably would need to use. So at least look at them once. Read the description for each of those commands. They are very, very helpful. So this way, if and when you type on your when you write up your resume, you can say that you are familiar with Linux OS and maybe Mac OS if you have one. And of course, you are going to be an expert in the Windows-based PC. All right, VI editor, for example, this is called a visual editor. Is a text editor that that works in the command mode. So to enter the commands or insert a mode. All right. So update Linux from the shell. So if you want to do any updates, you type update space. What is it? Well, first of all, you got to go to sudo if you don't have the supervisory account. But it's really sudo apt-get update. I think you have it somewhere here. Yep. If you wanted to do that, what else do you do? So you can practice some of these commands if you want. So there's the update if you wanted, if and when you wanted to do that. Table 18-6 allows you to, on page 1033, shows the commands to set the user directory with the appropriate write permissions. So you can play around with that if you want to. You can always telnet and SSH into the servers. Remember, SSH is the secured shell. You probably want to do SSH if it's possible because it's more secured. The data is encrypted on the way to the destination. All right, so comparing Windows, Mac OS, and the Linux. So one thing I want you to know, just keep in the back of your mind, is Windows nowadays is going to be a service. It's not officially been said, but Microsoft kind of said it, that Windows is going to be the last version. They're not going to start upgrading. So Windows 10 is going, unless something really big they think is going to change, but no new version is coming in the near future. Apple, by the way, is going that way as well. So the Mac OS is probably the latest name at least, but they're going to keep pushing updates for you as you need them. But to come up with a whole brand new GUI operating system. That's probably not going to be in the near future. All right, now here's a couple of things I want you to write down. Because Mac OS and Linux are both built on Unix, they are more compatible with each other than Windows. The FAT32, also write this down, the FAT32 file system can be read and written by Linux, Mac OS, and Windows, and is therefore the file system of choice when you are concerned about compatibility. Linux can read and write, by the way, to NTFS file system used by Windows system, but Mac OS cannot. So that's good to know. So Linux can see and understand or pick up or interpret data that is placed on an NTFS file system, but Mac OS cannot. Mac OS was renamed. By the way, Mac OS with the capital X, that was renamed as Mac OS in 2016. So that's why they call it Mac OS from now on. All right, so that's that with the. Now, when it comes to scripting, a script is really interpreted and executed command by the command. So, like if you ever did batch files, so if you want to clear the screen, Binks, type ping, write a whole bunch of commands in order, and that's really, and you can execute that as a batch file in one shot. So a script is interpreted and executed command by command, unlike a program that needs to be compiled for. So if you have a file, you need to a program, like a C program or basic program, you have to compile it so that the operating system can interpret it. But a batch file, you just write the commands and it gets executed immediately. Here's the different types of batch files, script and batch file. There's the batch file. There is the .sh, the Python script. You got the PowerShell scripts. All right. These are more and more becoming very, very important for a tech person to speed things up, to facilitate creating users. So one of the reasons PowerShell is so powerful is because you're able to create scripts. There are courses that we teach in scripting, but it's really beyond the scope of this course. You can go through some of the basic, read this, but there's not much. We're not going to get into scripting. There's only a couple of pages in this book to get into it, but here's a typical script that you can do because they go through the same pretty much commands that you would do in C or Java or anything like that. So if you know how to do the while do loop, the for loop, the if statement, else statement, all of that, you do that within scripting as well. Anyway, so this is all I got to say for this chapter. And so please write everything up and submit them as homework. But we're not done yet. I got a couple of things I want to remind you. So please, I want you to write also the following down. All right, I want you to go to the end of the chapter, at the end of the book, Appendix A. Please, at least once, go over Appendix A, the safety procedures and environmental concern. Very important appendix. So it goes over the measurement properties in electricity. As a PC tech, this is going to be important to know the different acronyms, what they mean, what's the difference between AC and DC, ground, neutral, because a lot of times you need to check the power to see if it's coming out, right? Protecting yourself. It goes through a whole bunch of, when you are in an interview, and if you are going to be a professional, you need to know about electricity and how to protect yourself. So knowing that ahead of time, they'll know that you are a professional. So electric fire safety, you need to know. The proper use of cleaning pads and solutions, they go over that. Lifting heavy objects, because you'll be, can you lift 50 pounds or not? And how do you do it? That's important. Safety goggles. Okay. And we talked about that, I think, in chapter 1. The electrostatic discharge strap. Using the anti-static bag when you are moving around. Never, ever move around with electronic boards without these anti-static bags, because when you're walking on carpet, your shoes and the carpet are dielectric insulators, and when you rub them together, they accumulate a tremendous amount of static charges, and if you touch anything within the chip, you killed it on the board. So make sure you do that. Physically protecting yourself from the environment, so you want to use anti-static vacuums, filters, what else? Electrical equipment and power surges. And this is important when you want to get rid of desktops or PCs or any electronic equipments, printers. Okay, you don't just throw them in the garbage. There's a lot of hazardous material. So they go through, this part is very, very important. All right, so please take a look at that. And also take a look at Appendix B. All right, Appendix B goes over some startup processes, the registry registers, at least scan through them, know where everything is supposed to be, right? And finally, Appendix C. If you don't know any of the acronyms, this is the place to look it up. And the more you know, the better you are. The better, just from reading the acronym, you'll know exactly what that acronym means. Not only what it stands for, but what it means. So if you read anything in the book and you're not sure what these acronym means, this is a place to check it out, right? And finally, of course, the glossary. It's very, very helpful. A lot of people don't even bother going there. So a lot of times, this is probably one of the first places you'll go to look up the meaning of or the definitions of a topic, right? So you start with 100 base T. What does it mean, right? What is an AC adapter? So if you can go, I don't have to explain all of this to you. So they go in details. So this is a very good place to visit when you are looking up. This book is your reference. You keep it with you. The more you read, I'll be doing a disservice for you. I know we've been watching videos and try to take notes, but please, I'll be doing a disservice not to tell you to read. Please read, read, read. Reading is extremely important for you to retain this information. Do your labs, and if you can do all of these exercises within the chapter, that would be helpful. I know it's a lot of work, but if this is the profession that you want to start out with, this is an excellent book to have with you when you are as a resource. All right, in addition to everything else, including Google. All right, so thank you for letting me be your guide to hopefully a successful career, and hopefully within a little bit, maybe a week or two of reviewing, you'll be ready to take the 2 exams of the AS Plus certifications. All right, until then, I'll see you in class, guys.